Um, First and foremost, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the hopeful elect elders and apostles of the Israelite nation who rule well, namely the hopeful elect elders and apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. Shalom to you all. Peace and many blessings be to the hopeful elect men of the Israelite nation, bringing forth the truth, those of you who are scattered amongst the earth, hitting the highways and hedges, and diligently promoting the truth, namely to the brothers that I personally labor with over here in my congregation. Shalom to you, brothers. And peace and many blessings as well be to the rest of the 1/3 of the Israelite nation, all the true believers out there. Shalom to you all. So this lesson, off top, I have no specific title. Just some words of admonishment, exhortation, if you will, and Lord willing, is just edifying. For the lesson, I'm going to start here in Romans chapter 12 and verse 1, and it reads, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren." And we'll just start with that because that's pretty much what's at hand, speaking on the brethren. And off top, the brethren is the hopeful elect of the Israelite nation. The Israelite nation being the nation consisting of the so-called black people. Well, that's what they're known as today, the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native American and Seminole Indian people who are scattered amongst the earth. You're the true Israelites, you who are this message is to. And again, going to the word brethren, off top, it's dealing with the hopeful elect men. Ultimately, the whole nation, down to the women and the children, but it starts with those who are in the front lines, right? Which are the men of the Israelite nation, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So therefore, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, all right, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is your reasonable service. And that's what it is. You have been called out of the world and ultimately given the truth. So you hearing the truth and it resonating with you. From that point on, you have been apprehended. And apprehended is you being pretty much, snatched up. You got caught up. Or you could think of being arrested. You got your hands behind your back. You're not in control. Ultimately, the doctrine takes over at this point. You learning it and being able to apply it to your life. Because that's of the Lord's mercy for you to be apprehended, for you to receive this truth and what's going on, especially in the time that we're in now. You're not running around not knowing what's going on in the world. World War III is brewing. Things are chaotic around you, but you know what's going on due to this word. So that's mercy, and the Lord has given that to you. So ultimately, you have been apprehended, all right? You've been snatched up out of the world and brought into this truth to save yourselves from yourselves, because you was in the world at one point not knowing what was going on. Just like these people who was running around today in the world not having an idea what's going on. They can't answer questions. They're confused of the times, but you have been brought into this truth. You've been sat down, and ultimately that drives you into what? Self-examination, because that's what this truth is all about. Therefore, you understand that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and that's your reasonable service. All right. It's a saying in the world, I believe it goes, a little prison times help clear the mind. All right, because that time you have to sit down in prison, if you will, you have time to examine yourselves, actually think, to be free from the world. When you behind bars, man, you only have your mind. You can't go out and go be distracted wherever it may be. You're not going on Saturday to get the new J's. You're not, able to go hit the mall, hit the store. You don't do that in your own time. You have time to think, and that's the sentiment that I'm speaking of right now is just self-examination. You have been apprehended, and this is your reasonable service, is to understand what you're part of, because what you're doing, you're gaining your life by losing your life. You see, that's that sacrifice. You're gaining your life by losing your life, and being pretty much apprehended and put in the stead of a soldier. And a soldier in the highest regards, being a soldier in Yahweh Ba'Hashem's Yahweh Shai's army. You see, that's what you've been called into. That's why you've been snatched up out of the world, to become a soldier. All right. And you ultimately winning the war in Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai's army leads to life in the kingdom. So very much so, this is your reasonable service, is to forsake your life, your thoughts, your aspirations, dreams you thought you had in the world. Once you hear this truth and it resonate with you, to come into this truth and to give yourself over to the Lord, to be a soldier to him, to fight for him. All right, so you can be rewarded a kingdom, an everlasting kingdom with all your heart's desires. So yeah, you're locked up for a little bit of time, but you're going to come out in an unimaginable estate. All right. So I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, it says, and be not conformed to this world. All right. And that's a major, point for the lesson. Be not conformed to this world. Satan's, Lakia. Bear with me. So let's go into this word, conformed. All right, I'll get it here in my phone because, as you can see, this part of it, man. I do have it pulled up here in my phone too. So this is the word in the Greek for conformed.
Strong's G 4964. Suschematizo. Suschematizo.
And the word means to conform oneself. All right. So an example, one's mind and character to another's pattern. Fashion oneself according to. You see? So ultimately, you have been fashioned to the world that is ran by the wicked. And the wicked simply being the so-called white man. And the so-called white man's true identity being Esau or Edom. As it says here, one's mind and character to another's pattern. So you've been conformed being a so-called black person, which is in fact an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite, the true, the chosen of God, the chosen people of God. You have been pretty much, until you came into this truth, you have been conformed to being the wicked, being like the so-called white man. All right, and that's why there's so many scriptures that's warning the Israelites to arise and depart, because this place is polluted. You've been brought up in filth. You've been brought up in trash thinking, so on and so forth. Whatever this world has offered you, that's what you have been conformed to. And through the mercies of God, you heard the truth and you were brought up out of that. So you have to leave all that behind you. That's what's dead. It's polluted, it's disgusting, it's gross. It's not going to allow you to progress in life for real. So you have to get rid of that. So therefore you can't be conformed to this world. And through that time, you have been apprehended through self-examination, understanding what you truly have come into, understanding reality. You have been given understanding of prophecy, being able to know that there's nothing but death and destruction that's going to come here to this world. Obviously, America being the main stage for World War III, America going to be completely destroyed and eradicated. You have to be able to escape this place. You're given the escape plan through this doctrine. And ultimately, you learning it, and going through self-examination, you have to cut off all these ways that is going to deny you from being able to receive salvation, right? Which is the reason why you present your body a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. Because again, you're being apprehended as a soldier at war. You have to be concerned with things of the battle, and that's escaping and winning the war. And you're not going to win the war by being conformed to this world. So you have to come out of it. And one of the major things that this world teaches you is to not have respect for one another. You don't have respect for no one, not your elders, no one. And that's very important in the army for you to have, in a military. All right, because again, we are part of the Lord's military, which is the strongest military of any world. All right, but that's very important. The military is, just simply having respect for one another. When you address a lieutenant in the army, you say, sir. As they say, sir, yes, sir. That's the word sir in the world is showing respect. How much more in this truth? You show respect to the brothers who are in this truth, man. The world teaches you to have no respect for one another. I hear people in the world, you be at the store, you hear somebody calling their mother bro. Bro, you look up, bro. They talking to their mother, man. We not bros in the truth. We are brothers. That's first and foremost. We are brothers. And that's further through our walks because brothers are in different places. You know, some brothers older than others, some are younger than others. But first and foremost, we brothers. We're not bros here. And we have natural positions. We have leaders. We have people in certain positions. We have all the lots. We have apostles, prophets, teachers, hopes, governors, languages, so on and so forth. There's a lot of positions to fill, but all these things are ranks, and they should be respected as so. Because here in my congregation, we not GMS. All right, we're not GMS. We give reverence to the elders and apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. All right, because we understand that's where the spirit is at. That's where the true spirit at. It starts with those elders all the way on down. All right, the elders over at the Great Millstone Church. But amongst ourselves, we have a certain order. All right, so no, we don't have the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone here, but we do have elders. You know, we have elders just amongst the rank. If I'm just a group and I don't have that banner, if you will, which is GMS, well, we start amongst our group and we have elders amongst our group, if you will. You know, but if anything, brothers, man, you know, we not bros in the truth, man. That's of the world. Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world. So that's something that we have to put aside. We have to give due acknowledgement. And this comes through what? Self-examination. Knowing what you are a part of, what you came into. You're in a war. You know, if your general come to you in a war and you saying, bro, hey, bro, hey, like, you know, you're not going to be deemed a soldier, man. That's not how the military works, man. Any military. There's rank. And before I do move forward, you know, this word, I've seen it thrown around, but I never actually went into it. But, you know, when I went into it, before putting this lesson together, I thought it'd be a beautiful addition. So the word here is decorum.
Decorum.
All right. And it says behavior in keeping with good taste and propriety. So good taste, and it's dealing with your behaviors. Good taste is not coming into something as serious as Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's army, his military, and coming in and keeping your ways of the world, calling brothers bro. Just anything that fits inside that, because that's not the only thing. You know, you gotta have respect. You address brothers a certain way. All right. So again, it's behavior in keeping with good taste and propriety. You know, now I've heard brothers say this, have some decorum. You know, and going into it is perfect. And this word propriety, you know, sir, is perfect for this lesson. All right. It says the state, it's like the state or quality of conforming to conventionally accepted standards of behavior or morals. And that's what you're being asked here in Romans, which we'll go back to in a second. And it says, just to get the rest of these definitions so I can hop back, decorum goes into etiquette. It's a certain etiquette you have in this truth. All right. And it says a particular requirement of good taste and propriety, which is you conforming to what is good taste. All right. So hopping back, Romans chapter 12:2, and be not conformed to this world. All right. Realizing that the men you are laboring with are men that are aspiring for aristocracy, men who desire the kingdom of heaven and all that comes with it. Because you're not going to hear brothers in the kingdom acknowledging each other, hey, bro, yo, bro, shalom, bro. Like, that shit not cool. It's levels, man. We're looking to be the men of the Lord. We're not going to be in the kingdom just loosely, you know, calling people, you know, just just worldly things. We go be in the kingdom, man. It's beautiful. We have aristocratic desires. That's what the men that you're laboring with, Lord willing, will have. Because that's what it takes to be part of this army. That's what it takes to endure. That's what it's going to take for you to actually truly make it on those ships, man. But it all starts with you realizing what you are part of, and taking heed to the scriptures. So you can be acceptable until Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And that's your reasonable service. So you must be examining yourselves and coming to an understanding of these things. You see? So Romans chapter 12 and 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So yeah, it takes time, but it doesn't take too much effort to make those small changes that could be made. It says that ye may prove what is that good. So you have to be convinced in your own mind. You have to be able to see these things, but you're not going to see these things if you're not examining. Because you might have been told, but if you're not really examining these things for real, if you're not truly listening, you're not going to understand. You're not going to hear. It says that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable. What's acceptable? Is it acceptable to call a brother who's older than you, bro? Is it acceptable to call your mother, bro? Is it acceptable to call anyone in this truth, bro? No. Is it acceptable to call the elder apostles Tahar and motherfucker? No. That's not acceptable. Those are the elder apostles. You call them accordingly, man. So that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect. Because we are to be in line. We to have decorum, man. And it says will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is his will. And we are to be performing it and getting ourselves in order. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.